Hello to you there and welcome to TTT Sports Year in Review 2022. Boy, was it a bumper year for sport coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions. We have had a marvelous year from cricket to football to golf to swimming, athletics, you name it, we had it.
I have no idea.
Why are you interrupting my great introduction?
People, here with it happen. We sit down here by R&R and 6th Avenue and we're going and taking the year in review. We had a bumper year for sport. It was up and down because of the pandemic now easing up. But what we have?
Fellas, I remember around this time last year, we ran a story with some teeth and a sweat in the hat.
You just come off a little small, little. Even Christmas sweat, it'd be nice early morning. It can be chopped up in our house every day.
You know, they had to go out and take a little thing in the COVID, but it was at a risk, and at a risk we paid a price for.
But this is real beneficial to when you're working and you just need a little release. And I'm thankful for this little release, especially in this time and all too, you know.
Well, yeah, the amount of emails I get from upstairs and from the general public,
I remember those.
you know, justifiably, but it was a tight time.
Yeah, I mean, but fellas couldn't wait to come out and play football. From small men to pros, everybody was out on the grass.
It was picture perfect for football. Amazing football indeed.
And at the very end, icing on the cake.
With the safe zone return to play announced by the Ministry of Sport in January, football stakeholders were still some ways off in mobilizing off-field and due to years of inactivity, fitness levels on the pitch. The 10-team Ascension tournament in late March was a delayed sequel to the successful staging of the inaugural competition in 2019. Defence Force returned to the competition as winners, as did hosts and runners-up Terminix Lahokata Rangers. TT Pro League teams Police FC, Cunupia FC and Athletic Club Port of Spain were mixed in with Deportivo Point Fortin, Moruga FC, area rivals Central Soccer World and Central FC, and the newly formed Real West Fort United. A plethora of established and breakout talents, including the basis of the St. Benedict's Lions secondary school's football team, brought their skills to the tournament, dubbed Bigger Better Football. And it certainly delivered for 18 weeks in venues throughout the east and west of Trinidad. Army and Rangers maintained their unbeaten streaks, but a late-season defeat to the Che Benny-inspired ACPOS and some unconvincing draws ultimately cost them the title. Rangers, who played most of their schedule in the Lahokata, remained unbeaten and were confirmed champions with 2 matches to spare. They eventually ended with a 7-point lead on the final standings. Army was second, Police FC third on 37 points. Kadeem Corbin's solid season was rewarded with a Player of the Tournament accolade. Plans for an Ascension Caribbean Cup were shelved after the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association put a pause on the Ascension organization's ambitions. Alongside the Ascension Tourney, 2 age group tournaments, the NLCL Under-19 Community Cup and the Tiger Tanks National Under-20 got an underserved group of players back in action. By the time the first secondary schools football league since 2019 began in September, it was clear which schools had done their homework. 2-time defending champions Naparima College laid down an early marker with a 9-1 win over St. Augustine in the Premier Division, but newly promoted Fatima College brought them swiftly back to earth with a last-ditch come-from-behind 2-1 win at Fatima Grounds in Week 3. Down south, St. Benedict's were also eyeing a resurgence. When the teams met in the Big Four final, however, it was the Golden Lions who put their best foot forward to repeat their 1967 College League final win. Both teams continued to excel in the national intercall. Fatima vs St. Benedict's Part 2 was less of a goal fest, but a 1-0 win was enough to bring the national intercall title back north and in Fatima hands for the first time since 2005.
Referee Nikolai Nairon led arguably this season's 2 best teams out of the tunnel for one last time. After a 1-1 deadlock and the 4-goal premiership final won by Benedict's, the third meeting between the 2 best teams this season did not disappoint. Fatima had the first look at goal. The early header across the frame, a good omen for the boys in yellow. The opener was close behind. Joshua Mason, a one-man Geshen press, remained committed to St. Benedict's gives comfort, eventually forcing a mistake out of goalkeeper Jair Buckmeyer. 1-0 Fatima College. Jose Atong was next to win the ball high up the pitch, but his effort was wide of the mark. At the final whistle, the slim margin proved decisive. Fatima with the final word in the 3-episode Clash of Titans. Fatima goal disc received more enthusiastically. As was the recognition of final's MVP, centre-back Jaden Williams. The fireworks signaled Fatima's first national intercall crown since 2005 and completed the story of their first season back in the top flight with the most perfect gift to a program that dared to dream.
Lionel Messi cemented his name in the GOAT conversation with Argentina's first trophy since 1986.
Well, that was the football. It was equally exciting for cricket. Back out on the field, back in the stands, real action. That's it.
Well, I'm picking up my drink because it was a real humdrum year for West Indies cricket. But I think before that, the return of spectators to the stands. Jovan is a man, loved to go to a good CPL game. I'm sure you enjoyed that.
Yeah, sometimes I just miss the action on the field. After all, it's the greatest party in sport, isn't it?
For sure, the biggest party in sport. But Kent, on the other hand, he's not a big fan of West Indies cricket, but he does enjoy a good game.
I think the CPL brings a different level of excitement, to cricket locally, and the fans were looking forward to that. We had it in the pandemic and it was empty. There was an emptiness, but now the fans were back and it was more excited.
Yeah, for sure. But I wish that vibe could have continued throughout into the T20 World Cup. The West Indies going to Australia, losing out without even qualifying for the Super 12. That was a big disaster. After all, the West Indies are the two-time T20 World Cup champions. So hopefully next time around, they can be much better.
The CPL this year saw the return of fans to the stands, and boy was it a wonderful feeling for players, officials and the lovers of T20 cricket. The Trinbago Knight Riders were pre-tournament favourites but had to play catch-up after losing several of their initial games. Eventual finalists, the Barbados Royals, were clinical throughout the group stage and were the danger team since the first ball was delivered on August 31st. They topped the group stage and maintained their fine form, winning the first playoff and into the final. The Guyana Amazon Warriors enjoyed home turf after years of absence, but just like the other years, seemed to have choked in the most important playoff clash against the Jamaica Tallowas, who were the final team to qualify. The men from the land of wood and water were the silent assassins led by the leading run-getter Brandon King, scoring a massive 422 runs from his 13 matches. The grand finale was played for the first time on the mainland, and Providence Stadium did not falter in providing the atmosphere. However, the match was a one-sided affair as the Jamaica Tallowas powered through the momentous Barbados Royals. The Royals mounted 161 for 7, and that proved to be a walk in the park for the Tallowas, hauling to the total in 16.1 overs for the loss of just 2 wickets and bagging their third CPL title in the process.
They are now 3-time champions.
Now, the T20 World Cup was just around the corner, and with all the glitz and glamour of the CPL, the excitement was already peaking. 2-time World Cup winning West Indies men jetted off down under and embarked on the qualification process to obtain a spot into the Super 12. Fans in the Caribbean opted not to lose sleep as the first clash should have been an easy one against Scotland. It was easy indeed, but for the Scottish, as they celebrated a historic 42-run win over the men in maroon. With only 3 games to qualify and 1 already down, the Windies needed to win their remaining 2. They got the reprieve against Zimbabwe, winning by 31 runs. From Nassau to Maracaibo in Guyana, all were glued to their streams as the Windies clashed with Ireland in the final bid to qualify for the Super 12. Unfortunately, the Windies were monotonous in their approach and lacked the grit needed to win. The Irish pulled off a scintillating historic win and booted the 2-time champs onto a long journey back to the Caribbean waters. Soon after, coach Phil Simmons announced his resignation at the end of the recently concluded Australia Test series, and Nicholas Pooran, the white ball captain, followed thereafter, ending a dismal year for West Indies cricket.
We take a break right now. Next up, more sport from 2022. Cricket in 2022 came back, and it was the biggest party in sport once more, and we're looking forward to it in 2023. Another big party in sport takes place at the Commonwealth Games, and Trinidad and Tobago was very successful. Ken?
Yeah, we came away with 6 medals in Birmingham this year, guys, and of course, two of our biggest performances came on the track in cycling and also on the athletics track itself, where Jerome Richards in track and field, and of course, Nicholas Paul on the cycling track, guys, performed extremely well, continue to prove that they were two of our premier athletes.
Yeah, I'm really on this.
Yeah, boy, Nicholas Paul is just amazing, boy. That man on that track is just beating all the records, surprising everybody all over the world. He really is an amazing person.
Yeah, he shocked the big gun.
He did, indeed.
He shocked the big gun.
Indeed.
Team TTO, of course, coming away with 6 medals, guys. 3 gold, 2 silver, and 1 bronze.
Yeah,
Nicholas and, of course, dream amongst the individual medals. Have to give them their props.
A return to play, a return of fans, and for our athletes, one of this year's major competitions was the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham that ran from July 28th to August 8th. Team TTO had a return of 6 medals in Birmingham, 3 gold, 2 silver, and 1 bronze. Cyclist Nicholas Paul continued to show why he's considered one of the rising stars in the sport, and the man from Gasparillo delivered the full set, meaning he won gold, silver, and bronze on the cycling track at the Lee Valley Velo Park in Birmingham. In the sprint, Paul came up against Matthew Richardson of Australia, but lost in 2 rides and had to settle for silver.
One big effort from the Western Australian if he wants gold. He's already got one hand on the medal, and Paul is struggling in 2nd position. Into the final bend, and Matthew Richardson is going to ride to gold in Birmingham.
But he would earn this country's first gold in Birmingham when he won the Karen with a fine performance, putting Caribbean cycling on the map. Paul's Trinidad and Tobago teammate and a fellow Olympian, Kwesi Brown, was a credible 6th in the event.
Trinidadian riders up though, Carlin stuck on the shoulder, and Nicholas Paul streaking away with it. Look at this is absolutely outstanding sprinting, so much ground to make up for Jack Carlin. He's really going for it, but Nicholas Paul will not be stopped. Trinidad and Tobago are going to claim a gold medal through Nicholas Paul. Sensational care in riding.
And he would complete his 3-medal haul in Birmingham with bronze in the 1-kilometer time trial, earning 3 of our 6 medals at the games and 1 of each kind.
Down. And Nicholas Paul trying to eat into the advantage held by Richardson. Has he got the legs to carry it through? Up to and over the line. It's the gold medal on the line here now as Paul crosses the line just outside. 1 minute dead, 0.89.
On the track in Birmingham, Trinidad and Tobago also had varying levels of success. In the men's 4x1 relay, the team of Gerard Elcock, Eric Harrison Jr., Keelan Benjamin, and Kyle Groom won silver in a time of 38.70 seconds, behind Great Britain, who won gold, and Nigeria that took bronze. And the team TTO went one better in the 4x4 relay, with Dwight St-Hilaire, Asa Guevara, Marshall Cedeno, and Jerome Richards combining for gold at the Alexander Stadium in 3 minutes 1.29 seconds, ahead of Botswana and Kenya respectively.
Outgoing runners, Botswana now pop into the lead. Jerome Richards in the final 200 metres, looking around, he's cool, he's calm, he's got such good speed endurance, but Botswana are saying, Dory onto his shoulder. Trinidad and Tobago, Botswana battling for the gold medal. Kenya have come into the bronze medal position, passing Jamaica, but Jerome Richards, easy as you like, 3:01.30. A brilliant run by the Trinidad and Tobago team.
Richards, though, would earn our only individual gold on the track, as he defended his 200-meter title with a games record and a personal best of 19.80 seconds, ahead of Great Britain's Zarnell Hughes and Joseph Amoah of Ghana.
And Richards is up. Hughes is under real pressure here. Jerome Richards driving for the line, storming to victory. It's gold to the Trinidadian, silver to Hughes, and 19.80. That is absolutely sensational.
The man from Point Fortin would earlier in the year win gold in the 400 meters at the World Indoor Championships held in Belgrade, Serbia, in a 45 seconds flat, a national indoor record and also a games record. 2022 would also prove a challenge for Richards and the track and field community of Trinidad and Tobago. On January 28th, 3 days before Richards' 20th birthday, the community was hit with the news of the passing of national athlete Dion Lendor, who died in a vehicular accident in Texas at the age of 29. Lendor, a multiple world indoor 400-meter bronze medalist, was considered a mentor and legend in the distance. Richards would dedicate his season to his friend and national teammate, and it was one he believes Lendor would have been proud of had he been here with us.
Well, from on the track into the pool, and we had a real successful year in the pool, thanks to
Dylan Carter, who I think has the best case for individual performance of the year.
It was literally goal upon goal upon goal throughout Europe in the World Championship.
Yeah, and Canada as well, he really slaughtered the course. Absolutely smashed every record possible.
No doubt our premier swimmer in the pool right now for Trinidad and Tobago, representing one at the Olympics and of course these different meets throughout the year.
A performance that speaks for itself. Dylan Carter. Dylan Carter's steady improvement in the 2021 International Swimming League promised a 2022 full of precious metal. He ended last year with silver in the 15th FINA World Swimming Championships. However, 2022 began with a series of hard lessons. Between the Selectivo Unico meet in Cancun in April and the 22nd Commonwealth Games in August, Carter's best results were 4 fourth places. Of course, there were some bright spots. At the World Championships on June 21st, Carter set a new TNT 100-meter freestyle record of 48.30 seconds. 2 days later, he copped a new 50-meter butterfly record of 22.85 seconds and a new 50-meter freestyle record of 21.91. He then went on an incredible 3-week unbeaten run. Carter won a hat-trick of gold medals in the 50-meter freestyle, backstroke and butterfly at the Germany leg of the FINA Swimming World Cup. In the 50 free, Carter was home in 20.77 seconds.
And it's looking good so far, but coming back it is Dylan Carter.
He won the 50 back in 23.15. And the 50 fly in 22.13.
And a very good reaction from Shane Cassius at the start, likewise Chandler Clough, but it's Carter, 300th of a second over Florent Manadou out in lane 8, and this is really fast looking from Carter. Is he going to hold on and take this? It could be very, very tight. It's going to be Carter just about over Chandler Clough, and then Revolta out in lane number 1.
5 days after securing the hat-trick and the 50-meter crown in Germany, he did it again, this time in Canada. In the 50 free, Carter won gold in 20.91 seconds. On October 29th, he touched the wall in 22.94 seconds to win the 50-meter backstroke.
7, Carter is racing to the wall. Will he get there? Yes, he gets there first, then Stelkowski, and then Ress.
Carter's only finish outside the top 3 in the World Cup came in the 100-meter freestyle on the same day. But even then, his 46.36 was a new national record. He underlined his world dominance over 50 meters with another gold hat-trick, finishing in 22.28 seconds. In the Indianapolis leg of the World Cup, Carter was again on fire. He won his third 50-meter freestyle gold in 20.72 seconds, a new national record in the stroke over the distance. In the 50-meter backstroke, Carter won gold in 22.72 seconds, a new national record in Trinidad and Tobago, and a new record by a swimmer over the distance on American soil. Carter then stood atop the rostrum for the final time at the World Cup when he won the 50-meter butterfly, his third hat-trick of the series. The 26-year-old racked up 172.6 points, 9 gold and $160,000 in prize money. Following the series of golden triumphs, Carter then returned to TNT for the National Swimming Championships and set a new national 100-meter free record of 46.02 seconds. He rounded out his 2022 program at the World Short Course Championships, where he equaled his 50-meter freestyle record on his way to bronze. Carter now holds 7 national long course, 8 national short course records, and 1 mixed relay record. He owns 3 of 6 freestyle, 2 of 3 backstroke, and 2 of 3 butterfly long course marks, and 4 of 6 freestyle, 2 of 3 backstroke, and 2 of 3 butterfly short course records.
All that was good, that was fantastic, it was exciting. We have a bit more coming up. pride and joy for Trinidad and Tobago on the court, the Calypso girls, Ken.
Yeah, the ladies, they had a difficult Commonwealth Games, of course, but they followed that up, as the great Bob Marley song, Redemption song. They redeemed themselves in Jamaica by qualifying for next year's Netball World Cup in South Africa.
2022 was a mixed year for our national netballers, beginning with the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, where they were placed in Pool B that contained England, New Zealand, Uganda, Malawi, and Northern Ireland. The Calypso girls finished winless in the group and had to play fellow Caribbean nation Barbados for 11th place, which they eventually won 63-31. But in sports, you can always find a redemption, and the Calypso girls found their rhythm at the America's Netball World Cup qualifiers in Jamaica. The team would win 7 of their 8 games, defeating Antigua-Barbuda 55-24, St. Lucia 63-25, getting the better of St. Vincent and the Grenadines 49-42, beating the Spice Girls of Grenada 66-42, hammering the Cayman Islands 60-21, bettering the United States 43-27, stopping Barbados 50-40, and only losing to already qualified Jamaica 60-47. At the draw for the pools at next year's World Cup in South Africa, the Calypso girls were drawn in Pool D alongside New Zealand, Uganda, and Singapore.
As we are on Commonwealth Games, we had a touch on one thing. In 2023, there will be the Youth Commonwealth Games coming to Trinidad and Tobago, and also in administration of the Olympic Committee and the Trinidad and Tobago Commonwealth Committee, we had some changes.
Yeah, we had some positive change, and for the first time in Trinidad and Tobago's history, a woman is now leading the TTOC in the form of Diane Henderson. Guys, we've always been talking about women and girls involved in sport. How do you feel about Diane's involvement now as TTOC president?
Yeah, the previous administration, made it a 50-50 board with 50% women, 50% men. So I thought it was a really good move by the TTOC to lead the way in terms of empowering women and girls.
Well, and Diane has been around for a while, administrating sport, and she was the right hand for Brian for a long while. So she walked into the job with ease.
It was expected because for a few months before, there were many prompts that were given that she may take up the post when Brian does vacate it.
Not prompts, Brian was shouting.
Now, fellas, let's take a look at Diane's ascension to office, especially coming out of a pandemic where we had some difficult times in sport.
History was created on April 30, 2022, when Diane Henderson was elected to the post of President of the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee, the first woman in the organization's 75-year history. The former TTOC Vice President was elected via vote, winning the post by 24-10 at the organization's annual general meeting. Henderson is no stranger to sports management in Trinidad and Tobago, having served as chairperson of the Trinidad and Tobago International Marathon in recent times. Her elevation comes on the heels of the goal of former President Brian Lewis to have more women and girls involved in sport, especially at the management level. Staying with the Olympic movement, in 2008 at the Beijing Olympics, this country's 4x1 team of Richard Thompson, Keston Bledman, Emmanuel Callender, Mark Burns, and Aaron Armstrong finished second to then gold medalist Jamaica. However, in 2016, retesting of blood samples found that one of the Jamaican team members had tested positive for a banned substance, resulting in Team Trinidad and Tobago being promoted to gold. After 12 years of waiting, the members of that team finally received the medals they rightfully earned at a ceremony at the International Olympic Committee's headquarters in Lausanne, Switzerland. Though not the manner they would have dreamed of receiving their medals, the young men were proud their achievements was finally rewarded after all these years.
Now that's 2022 in a coconut shell, and we can look forward to more good sport in 2023, especially the Youth Commonwealth Games coming right here to Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Wayne Cunningham.
I'm Sam Jabram Subag.
I am Kent Fuentes. I'm Joe Van Ravello for TTT Sport.